Out-of-towners are often surprised to learn about how Vegas is a good city for punk. We have a modest but vibrant local scene with bands, venues, and record labels. We also host punk rock bowling. The actual number of festival goers is a bit hard to pin down, but it seems to range somewhere between 7,000 and 15,000. And now Vegas is home to the Punk Rock Museum. What is the Punk Rock Museum? It's a groovy building that houses an incredible collection of artifacts. It's supposed to be the largest permanent collection of such artifacts. Some notable pieces include Debbie Harry's Vultures shirt, Johnny Thunder's 59 guitar, the molds for Devo's helmets, and Fear's saxophone. Hey, the museum's alright as long as you like saxophones. The 5-decade collection sits in a 12,000 square foot building that includes clothing, instruments, flyers, and just about anything else you can imagine. I'd say the geographical location is pretty close to perfect. It's downtown, just outside of the Arts District. But don't you worry about the area feeling gentrified. It's in front of I-15 and next to Little Darlings. I visited the museum on opening day. While it was on April 1st, it was certainly no joke. I don't know if it'll be a permanent feature, but you are able to get a tour of the museum with a musician as your guide. There were options like Luigi Mayorga of Suicidal Tendencies, Monkey of the Addicts, Don Bowles of The Germs, Greg Hetson of Bad Religion, and you get the idea. It's a pretty amazing lineup. I went for none other than Fat Mike of NOFX. So the museum starts off in a photo gallery. This area has some fantastic images. After the gallery, the museum features themed areas that represent historical periods and movements. One of my favorite sections showcases the tri-state area, so bands like the Cramps and the Misfits are showcased.
Doing okay, right?
Yeah, fantastic.
Misfits. I have a Misfits tattoo of the show. I saw it when they were opening for 45 Grave. Ha! That's from 78. They probably would have been as big as Ramones or bigger if the record came out and the label didn't shelve it. Mercury. They recorded it, Mercury kept it. So it took them 2 more years before they do Walk Among Us. I read their book.
Being a big fan of British punk, I was ecstatic to find that the English sections are well endowed. The Damned, Toy Dolls, and of course the Pistols are represented. You'll also find UK subs, Buzzcocks, The Exploited, and The Addicts. Here's Kurt Cobain's couch, or at least it's a couch that he sat on at some point. Notice it's not behind a glass wall, as it would be if it were someplace like a couple blocks over at Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum. As a result, you can sit on a couch used by Kurt Cobain. Fat Mike expects it to get worn down and thrown out at some point in the near future. I thought this sentiment really expressed what's different about the place compared to conventional museums. As a fan who's read every episode of Punk magazine, I loved seeing the original issues. Here's the wall of flyers. As you might expect, Fat Rex got a wall. The internet was abuzz with drama about Green Day being the last band to hold out when it came to donations. You'll be happy to know that in the 11th hour, the guys finally made some donations, and they are great.
Billy Joe's guitar.
DJ.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago, they decided they wanted to be part of the museum, so they sent us stuff. If you notice, Billy Joe's doing this. We kind of look alike. Let me say that. That's Billy Joe's first amp when they played at Gilman Street. It's a GK bass amp, but that's all he had. So he just turned off all the bass and used a distortion box. That was Green Day. Pretty cool. That's Jern's bass. Mike Turner is the best bass player that he knows of. Kurt Cobain's leather jacket. Yeah. He traded with someone.
Check out the motorcycle jackets. Here's one of the other tour guides, Luigi, of Suicidal Tendencies. There's a jam room where you can play the actual instruments used by bands like NOFX, Pennywise, and Sick of It All. In one of the upstairs rooms, I bumped into Rob Ruckus. Seeing him underscores the museum is staffed by real cats that have paid their dues in the local scene. This is the crossover section. Here's the chapel. Get hitched in a room where you and your loved one can bask in the glow of Sid and Nancy. The tattoo parlor wasn't yet open. As I understand, there will be rotating artists. Some people get koozies as souvenirs. Instead, imagine getting body art. The gift shop is also fantastic with books, pins, buttons, pint glasses, and t-shirts that you just can't live without. I love that the museum's graphics were done by the same artist that does everything for punk rock bowling. As with the Mob Museum, you can finish your visit here with a cold pint. This is Vegas after all. So let's talk about the Triple Down. A bit of background. In the world of Vegas punk, there's one bar owner who rises above the rest, and that's P. Moss. While he runs the Double Down Saloon, he's also one of my favorite authors, so check out this channel's reviews of his Vegas trilogy. Seen as the sequel to the Double Down, Moss now runs the Triple Down. While the Double Down is famous for its shots of ass juice, the Triple Down has the Gut Punch. If you like ass juice, and I mean who doesn't, you'll also dig a gut punch. Want a unique and memorable experience? Go to the bar and order yourself a Fletcher. And as you might suspect, it's connected with the Pennywise guitar player. Your bartender will open a can of Pringles and pour the chips into a basket for you. He will then serve you a rum and coke in the Pringles can. This is a civilized endeavor, so of course you get a straw. Not that I need to say it, but going mouth to can is barbaric. The triple down connects to a patio, which offers great views of the nearby Strat. If you've ever been to the Double Down Saloon, you know that the bathrooms are legendary for what I'll refer to as a collective art project. If you don't know what I'm talking about, here's Moss in the bar's bathroom. The same interactive art experience has begun at the Punk Rock Museum. I took some photos of the men's room walls for posterity. Remember these opening night images when you visit, because I guarantee you that the walls will look different. As my guide, Fat Mike made the tour a once-in-a-lifetime experience. He worked his knowledge, insights, and humor into the tour. He is as hilarious, sincere, and irreverent as I hoped. As the museum's visionary and a significant investor, thank you, Mike. I am grateful for what you've done for this city, and I love that you've moved here. Since the museum is not a one-man operation, I also want to give a shout out to Vinny and the rest of the collective for making this dream come true. Who is this for? The Punk Rock Museum is for people who want to get a tattoo, get married, drink a beer, and play Fat Mike's bass under the same roof all on the same day. Who else is this for? People interested in the history of rock and roll. People who want to combine a party into their historical outing. Tourists that want to get off the strip and experience something truly unique. People who want a Punk 101 course. What does this have to do with Las Vegas? The Punk Rock Museum seals the deal on the sentiment that Vegas is a good place for punk. The museum makes for one of the most original experiences in Vegas. No expense was spared with regards to the facility, the collection, and staffing. It pulls off the impossible in that it's both world-class and authentically punk. That should be an oxymoron. The museum is an original idea that's so well executed that it deserves to prosper. Given that I was on a guided tour, my experience through the collection was a bit of a whirlwind. I look forward to going back many times and giving the collection the time and reflection it deserves. Beyond this, I was taken back by the broadness of the collection. I rallied at the displays that represent my punk heroes, but I was also taken back by the musical movements that I'm only vaguely aware of. The opening night at the Punk Rock Museum was a blast. There were journalists from all over the country. Of course, P. Moss was there. Legends of punk were to be had around any corner. It felt like a punk rock gala. Should you visit the Punk Rock Museum? Hell yeah! As an interactive hybrid space, history is intertwined with good times. I look forward to going back when it's more relaxed and I can really soak everything in. The museum is a Las Vegas treasure. Whether you're a visitor or resident, I highly recommend the Punk Rock Museum. All right, that'll do it for today. Keep it fabulous, and I'll see you next time.